Nervous or even scared about going in for a colonoscopy? Wondering what it's like to go in for a colonoscopy? Wondering what exactly it entails? Well, in today's video, I'm going to take you through getting ready and going in for a colonoscopy. If you're new here and are wondering why someone so young is going in for one, well, welcome to life as a cancer survivor. My name is Jelena, and at age 34, I was diagnosed with stage 3 rectal cancer. This is colonoscopy number 3 for me, although I've had to do many full colon cleansing preps before multiple other procedures and surgeries through my treatment. Many people are afraid or nervous to get a colonoscopy, so I'm here to take a little of the mystery out of the prep and procedure. I'm going to show you some tips on things to eat in the days leading up to the procedure, what it's like to go through one of the many bowel preps, and what it's like once you get to the office for your colonoscopy. I'm going in for a colonoscopy this week as part of the follow-up monitoring for treatment for colorectal cancer. My cancer was found during a colonoscopy in 2016. Then I had my first follow-up colonoscopy 1 year after my lower anterior resection surgery, which was part of my cancer treatment. So the lower anterior resection, or LAR surgery, it's where they remove part of your colon and rectum. For me, they removed 12 inches of it, and they also removed 17 lymph nodes and created an ileostomy, which I had for 7 months. In that follow-up colonoscopy, they didn't find any polyps or anything, so that meant I got to wait 3 years before I had to go in for another colonoscopy, which is now. Since that last colonoscopy, I sought out a gastroenterologist, also known as a GI doc, that could help me with my post-ileostomy reversal bowel issues. So she's going to be doing this colonoscopy and all of my future ones. I scheduled this appointment back in August, and I immediately was emailed a 14-page document of detailed prep instructions. Even though I've been through a bowel prep many times, it's always helpful to have as detailed of information as possible to help guide you in what is okay to eat in those days leading up to the procedure. I also looked up even more foods that are okay to eat during the prep and came upon this PDF that Kaiser Permanente had published, which has detailed information on foods that are okay to eat while following a low-fiber diet leading up to a colonoscopy. I, of course, am using the instructions that I got from my doctor's office as primary guidance for what is okay to eat. But when I needed more details on what exactly the bread was that was okay, I'm referring to the Kaiser Permanente document for guidance on the okay breads. My colonoscopy is scheduled for a Thursday, so let me walk you through the instructions that I have to prepare. 3 days before the procedure, start a low-residue diet. What exactly does that mean? No fruits, no vegetables, no seeds, and no nuts. Here's what my doctor's office says is okay to eat. Soup, white rice, plain or vanilla yogurt, 2-cup limit, noodles, popsicles, fish, bread, clear fruit juices, potatoes with no skin, jelly, white chicken, crackers, clear beverages, broth and bouillon, and salt and pepper. As a vegetarian, that doesn't really give me a whole lot of options of things to eat for 3 days. That's why I turned to the Kaiser information for more details. Options under bread include breads and pastas that are made with refined flour, saltines, and low-fiber cereal options such as cream of wheat, puffed rice, and cornflakes. Eggs and tofu are okay, as well as applesauce, ripe cantaloupe and honeydew, cooked or canned fruits that don't have any seeds or skins, and creamy peanut butter. That list gave me a few more options of things to eat for 2 days. Why only 2 days? Well, that brings me to the next step of the prep process. 1 day prior to the procedure, no solid foods, clear liquids only. This is the part of the prep that I hate. The foods that my doctor has approved that are okay on the clear liquids part of the diet are black tea, coffee, soda, fitness water, broth, gelatin, popsicles with no fruit pieces, fruit juice with no pulp. And this part I got excited about because I hadn't been told for other colonoscopies that these were okay to consume, are either Booster and Shore up until 4 p.m. the day before your colonoscopy. Things to avoid are anything that are red or blue. Those can stain your colon, and it can make it really difficult for the doctor to determine whether or not that stained area is an area of concern or not. You also have to avoid milk and dairy, fruit juice with pulp, popsicles with fruit pieces, and alcohol. At 2 p.m. that day before the procedure, I have to take 4 bisacodyl tablets, also known as Dulcolax. Then at 4 p.m., I have to mix a half of a 14-day supply bottle of polyethylene glycol 3350, also known as Miralax, with 64 ounces of Gatorade. Then I have to drink that mixture 1 glass at a time every 15 to 20 minutes, finishing it all completely off within 2 hours. Once this part of the prep starts, you kind of forget about being hungry because your stomach is so full of liquids. After you've finished this part, you need to make sure to continue to drink lots of water because you're about to start emptying your bowels on the toilet, and that can dehydrate you pretty easily. Then 5 hours before the procedure, which for me is going to be 4:30 a.m., I have to mix the rest of that bottle of the Miralax with another 64 ounces of Gatorade and drink up that solution again, 1 glass every 15 to 20 minutes. Make sure to finish it within 2 hours. Then, up until 3 hours before the procedure, you can drink water, and that's it. Once 3 hours hits, your NPO, or nothing by the mouth, you can't drink any water, you can't even suck on any hard candy or chew gum. Now that I've explained the basics of what the prep entails, let me take you through with me what I'm eating in those days leading up, what it's like going through that bowel prep, and what happens once I get to the office for my colonoscopy. Morning, it's Tuesday. I survived yesterday's low residue diet. Although I lost a pound because I wasn't eating as much as I normally do because there's not a whole lot that I can eat on this, I feel like. So I'm going to try and eat a little more today. But the good news is I didn't poop until bedtime, and it took a while, and there was a lot that came out, but it was only 1. So that I was happy with because I was a little nervous about how much I was going to be going to the bathroom, not taking any medications. So if I eat garbage, hey, I don't have to take any medicine. But I didn't eat any fruit or vegetables yesterday, no whole grains, so that's not sustainably healthy. So I can't keep up with this as my way to control my bowels. So here we go, day 2. Try and eat more. Again, I'm eating cream of wheat. Yum, yum. I'm gonna add milk to it today instead of just water to add a few more calories in it. And then put in the yogurt again. Maybe I'll have some toast too with it. We'll see. So, day 1 went fine. Now it's time for day 2. Yay. Good morning, it's the day before my colonoscopy, and so I'm on the clear liquids diet, no solid foods. On this prep that my doctor's office sent, they said that I'm allowed to drink Ensure or Boost, so I'm trying this. I have the strawberry one, so this is my breakfast. It's 220 calories, so we'll see how long this will keep me feeling not super hungry for. So I'm kind of excited to be drinking these so that I have some kind of food in me. I can only drink them until 4 o'clock though. So after 4, I'm done. But 4 o'clock is when I start
the drinking of the Gatorade and Miralax part, so it shouldn't bother me too much that I have to stop these at 4. So we'll see how these go. Good morning. It's 11:45 a.m., day before the colonoscopy, and the insurer did a pretty good job of keeping me from not being super hungry first thing this morning. I'm starting to get a little hungry now, but before lunchtime, I want to get started with getting the first part of my prep put together. So at 4 p.m., I'm not out of the house at all, so I'm going to start at 4 p.m. like it recommended. I'm going to do the first half of the Miralax, or the generic Miralax stuff. I mix half of this with 2 jugs of Gatorade, so 64 ounces total. I've got a gigantic pitcher because the smaller one, it would fill it like almost up to the tippity top, so I wanted to have a little wiggle room to be able to mix them. Now, it said in the instructions that it might taste better warm, but I don't really like warm Gatorade, so I'm gonna mix it ahead of time and put it in the fridge so that it's a little cooler when it's 4 o'clock and it's time for me to start drinking this. So, the instructions, it says to do 7 capfuls, which is half of this 14-day supply of Miralax. So let's see, 17 grams. So there's a little white cap inside of the purple one. So it says the top of that is the 17 grams, which is 1 dose. So 7 capfuls. Here we go.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
And 7. I'm not measuring it out for the next one because it's just going to be the rest of the bottle. So we got that, and then oh my goodness. Here we go. Ow. And a second. We just dump these together. If you do prepare it ahead of time, make sure to tell the family that that pitcher is yours, so you don't have anybody else accidentally joining you in this prep. Okay, it dissolved really well, actually. Oh, there's a little chunk there. I think I'm pretty much just seeing little bubbles from me stirring it. And this one is Rainberry. It is the Gatorade Frost. So when we used to drink a lot of Gatorade, I remember the Frost not being as sugary as the other kind. And I don't like drinking fake sugar, so like the aspartame or whatever they put in the other ones that they say is no sugar, but is actually, it has some kind of sugar and it gives you gross aftertaste. So it looks like it's all mixed up. So I'm gonna put this in the fridge so it'll be cool at 4 o'clock and catch up with you at lunchtime. So it's lunchtime, I'm pretty hungry, so ensure, and to change it up because I'm getting tired of the sweet already, I mixed up a bouillon cube, which are cubes, make 2 cups of water, so I've got 2 cups of vegetable broth here to drink up to change it up a little bit as well. So here's lunch on a clear liquids diet. Alright, so lunch is done. I finished the Ensure. The broth is not quite going as well. I don't know. I thought it would be a little tastier. It's a broth that I like using in soup, but it's just not very appetizing right now. As you can see, I couldn't fit all of the 2 cups in this glass. It's a little shy. I filled it almost to the tippy top, and I haven't really drank a whole lot. Maybe I'll let it cool off a little and it'll taste better a little cooler. I don't know why it's not really going down very easily. Maybe my body, it's making it remember like being in the hospital and being on clear liquids diets, and it's not very happy about it, not excited. So I don't know. We'll see. I think I'm going to try doing another one of those inshores though, because I can only drink them until 4, and it's almost 1 o'clock right now. So I think I'm going to do one more, get a few more calories in me, a few more nutrients in me. And then at 2 o'clock, it's time for my stool softener pills. Yay! That's when the real fun starts. So that's the update for now. I'll be back soon. So it's 2 p.m. on Wednesday, the day before my colonoscopy, and it is time to get started with the first step of getting that colon cleared out. So step 1 was taking 4 stool softeners, Dulcolax, Bisacodil, whatever. This one, it says gentle laxative tablets. So each one's 5 milligrams. I am supposed to take 4 of them. So on the package, it says that for adults and children 12 years and over, take 1 to 3 tablets in a single daily dose. So taking the 4 actually isn't too out of the crazy spectrum. So it's time for me to take 4. They are really teeny tiny little tablets, if you can see here. All right, 2 hours, and that's when the fun drinking begins. All right, so it's 4 o'clock. Time to get started with the Gatorade and Miralax mixture. So 1 glass every 15 to 20 minutes. Here we go. Doesn't taste bad. Tastes like Gatorade. There's no grittiness in here at all. So I have no idea that I am taking 7 days of laxative over the next 2 hours. So here we go. As far as I'm feeling, I have not gone to the bathroom, or I haven't had a bowel movement yet today, and I'm feeling okay. My stomach, it's all right. It's not fantastic, but I'm not nauseous or anything. Energy is okay. I haven't eaten anything. Hunger level, I'm actually not hungry, so eating or drinking those inshores really helped a lot with keeping that hunger at bay for this prep. So I'm not allowed to drink any more of them since it's 4 o'clock now. So Gatorade it is for the next 2 hours. This is the last of the first batch. All done. It's about 5:40. So finished it all with time to spare in the 2 hours. I've had to pee once because that's a lot to drink, and I feel like I've got to do it again. But no poop rumbles yet. So, actually maybe feeling like I might need to do that too here soon. Yay! The fun begins! Okay, so quick recap of how things have gone. It is 6:45, and about an hour ago, shortly after I last spoke, is when everything started to loosen up and I felt the urge to go to the bathroom very urgently. So I have spent the past hour off and on the toilet. I was able to hop off for a few minutes, and then I got the urge to go really bad again. Pro tip: when you're doing your prep and it's that time to start cleansing out the colon, wear elastic waisted pants. You do not want to be messing with buttons and zippers when you urgently need to go to the bathroom. So I have already been, how should I say it, passing liquid, basically. There's still some chunks in it. It was still dark colored. I couldn't see what was really in the toilet, but we're already to the point where liquid is coming out. So I don't remember how long this purge goes, but hopefully it won't last all night and I'll be able to get a few hours of sleep, because I do have to wake up at 4:30 to get that second half of the prep, so the other half of that jug with the Gatorade down. So it'll be a not great night of sleep, but I'll get to sleep some during the colonoscopy, and I kind of cleared off the calendar for the rest of the day tomorrow, made sure that I had everything done that I needed to get done so I can rest and catch up on that sleep tomorrow. Hi. The cleansing has begun. Not feeling so hot right now. Just like that general icky feeling, like when you're sick and there's just not like one thing that you can pinpoint. That's kind of how I'm feeling right now. The insides are gurgling pretty hard at the moment, so I'm gonna need to hurry with this. But I am getting ready my 4:30 a.m. prep, so the rest of this bottle, yay. I have 2 jugs of Gatorade. So, yeah, when you have diarrhea and you have a couple episodes and you just feel like kind of weak, just kind of overall cruddiness. That's basically how I'm feeling right now. But I'll hopefully, it'll pass after I'm done with the prep. I'm gonna go in tomorrow for the colonoscopy. So it's just temporary. It's cruddy feeling. It's not fun, but cancer's worse. So stir this up. I'll see you at 4:30 in the morning. I'm gonna shower and I'm tired. I'm going to bed even though it's only 8:30 or so. Don't care. Going to sleep.
Time for a recap on how everything went. One thing that I didn't mention in those days when I was following the low-residue diet was that on Tuesday afternoon, I started having blood in my stool, and by that evening, I was passing bloody mucus. It made me pretty nervous because the bloody stools and the mucusy blood was like the primary symptom that I was having before my diagnosis. But I also just went in a month before to get a CT scan and I had my CEA checked. And both of those showed that I had no evidence of disease. So if there was anything going on in my colon, it had to be early stage. Once Wednesday started and the bowel emptying began, I didn't notice the blood anymore. That leads me to how exactly the prep itself went. So I started drinking it at 4 p.m. on Wednesday afternoon, and I had it finished by 5:40 p.m. Then at about 5:45, that's when the toilet visits began. I later discovered that I drank the prep way too fast because around 8 p.m. I got really nauseous, and I ended up having to take a Dramamine pill to help ease the nausea, and I was hoping that it was also going to help me sleep a bit. Around 9 p.m., I was exhausted and ready for bed, but the bathroom trips hadn't let up at all, so I was still pinned to the toilet. Around 11 p.m., the bathroom trips finally started easing up, and I thought that I was going to be able to get at least a couple hours of sleep in before I had to start drinking the second half of the prep, which would start at 4:30 a.m. Well, while I was lying in bed trying to fall asleep, there was a big gurgle in my stomach, and then all of a sudden liquid just erupted out of my butt. I rushed as fast as I could to the bathroom, but my underwear were soaked. It got on my pants. Luckily, it didn't soak all the way through my pants, so the sheets were okay, but I had to change my pants and my underwear. I put on a new pair of underwear and pajama pants and hoped that was the end. It wasn't. Around 12:30, I woke up, had another gurgle and another eruption of liquid come out. By this time, my butt was burning pretty bad. I had never gone this much for any of my other preps, so I wasn't super prepared, but I did have some Dermaplast still that was easily accessible, so I grabbed that, and after I wiped myself up and was done going to the bathroom again, I sprayed my butt down to try and cool it off a little bit. After another change of pants and underwear, I thought that had to be the end. It had been like 9 hours since I started the prep, and all that was coming out was liquid. After a third liquid eruption, I decided it was time to break out the adult diapers. Luckily, I hadn't got rid of the pack that I bought when I had my ileostomy reversal surgery, so I grabbed one of those, took off the old underwear and pajama pants, and put the diaper on. 4:30 a.m. came way too fast. It was time for me to start the second half of the prep. This time I drank it much slower and I ended up not finishing it. I had about 2 glasses left in the jug when I hit that 3-hour mark before my procedure time when I wasn't supposed to drink anything else. I figured that since I had been passing liquid out of my butt for hours that it was going to be okay. I went through 2 pairs of diapers and wore a fresh pair on the way to the colonoscopy facility. Once I was checked in, I was taken back to a room. A nurse took my vitals and she placed my IV and got me connected to some fluids so that I could rehydrate a little before my procedure. While I was waiting for my doctor and the anesthesiologist to come in and talk to me before my procedure, another nurse came in and asked me if I wanted a warm neck wrap while I waited. I was like, yeah. So she also asked if I wanted any essential oils put on it, so I asked for lavender. And that was a nice warm and soothing thing to just kind of have on my neck to relax me before I went back for my procedure. Finally, the anesthesiologist came in and she asked me if I had any allergies to any medications, if I had ever had a bad reaction to anesthesia, or if anyone close in my family had ever had a bad reaction to it. Then the GI doc came in and I told her about the bleeding that I had, but she wasn't very concerned and said it was probably from the prep. By the time I was rolled back into the room for my procedure, the IV bag of fluids was empty. So the anesthesiologist hooked up another one to me and said she would rather me be very hydrated because it helps you to wake back up and bounce back from the anesthesia much faster. Then they had me roll over to my left side. They adjusted the pillow around my neck and head so that, I guess, to keep my head steady. Then the anesthesiologist, she gave me 2 syringes. One was a clear syringe that she injected straight into the IV in my arm, and then a syringe of like a cloudy liquid. Then I was out. I later found out from my paperwork that the first injection was 100 milligrams of lidocaine, most likely to prevent me from feeling any pain from the camera during the colonoscopy. And then I got 200 milligrams of propofol. That was the cloudy liquid that I got. When I woke up, I was back in the room that I started in and was pretty tired. After about 10 minutes, I was feeling much better, and a nurse came in with some tea and snacks for me. I scarfed them down while I was waiting for the GI doc to come in and tell me how the colonoscopy went. Well, there were no polyps or cancer found, so that was great news. She did find ulceration and some erosions in the transverse part of my colon, which is the top part that goes straight across. And she said it was most likely a result of the low-residue diet and the colonoscopy prep, and that was most likely the origin of the bleeding that I had experienced. She, of course, took biopsies of that and other areas of my colon just to make sure everything was looking okay, and I'm still actually waiting on those results. After the procedure, you are not allowed to drive yourself home, nor can you take public transportation or any kind of taxi service. So you have to have someone with you that can drive you back home. On the way home, we stopped at our favorite Mexican place on the way, and I got myself a gigantic breakfast burrito, which lasted for lunch and dinner. I was exhausted when we got home, and I tried to take a nap, but I had troubles falling asleep, so I was just groggy for the rest of the day. The next day when I woke up, I started having some bad cramping, and it continued throughout the morning. Around 11 a.m., my GI doc's office called to see how I was doing, and I mentioned that I was having some cramping pains, and they said that wasn't unusual after a colonoscopy procedure, and they recommended that I take some Gas X if I had any to help with those pains. Well, I happen to have Gas X at home, so I took 2 of those, and it took a while for them to kick in, but finally around 1 p.m. or so, the pain started easing up and I started feeling better. Since I was having cramping, I decided to only take psyllium husk to regulate my bowels until I started feeling better and started having loose stools again. It took until Saturday around 4 p.m. for me to have my first bowel movement, a full 2 days after the colonoscopy. So how is it going in for a colonoscopy? Well, the prep by far is the worst part, and for me, for some reason, it keeps getting worse each time I go in. I will definitely make sure to have diaper rash cream on hand for the next time, and a few of those adult diapers handy as well. Also, drinking an approved meal replacement shake really helped to keep the hunger from getting out of control that day before the colonoscopy. And although the prep is not fun, don't delay your colonoscopy because of it. I had to do a lot of these preps for many tests and procedures during my cancer treatment. Ask any colorectal cancer patient, and hands down, they will tell you that the colonoscopy prep is way easier than going through treatment for colorectal cancer. So if you're 45 years or older and haven't gotten a colonoscopy yet, please contact your doctor and get the ball rolling on getting one scheduled. I'll be doing a live stream on Thursday, October 29th at 6:30 p.m. Mountain Time. So if you haven't already, make sure that you're subscribed and you've clicked the bell to receive the notifications so you'll be notified when that live stream is happening so you don't miss it and any of my future videos. Also, click on the like button down here if you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.